Our core problem is that the ignorant and mentally enslaved ones have been made overconfident, and the intelligent, critical thinking ones have been made self doubting, and they therefore remain silent. This silence amongst the intelligent, critical thinking ones has allowed the false beliefs held by the ignorant and mentally enslaved ones to prevail throughout our communities, keeping the black masses within a collective state of ignorance and mental enslavement. When we, that are intelligent, critical thinkers, remain silent, we are in fact aiding the white society's mental enslavement of our people. This is why those of us who know the truth must teach African proverb. It's better to lose black friends for telling the black liberating truth than to endorse false beliefs in order to hold on to ignorant and mentally enslaved black friends. Stokely Carmichael once said that it is the duty of the conscious to make the unconscious conscious. It's within the spirit of those words that this video is being made. Within this video, I'm going to demonstrate just how effectively white oppressive forces have brainwashed our people. Presently, millions of African Americans now insist that we made the N-word ours. But when was this decision made? Did we have a national meeting when we made the decision to all call ourselves by the N-word? No, there is no evidence of African Americans ever coming together and deciding to call ourselves by the N-word. We never did. The reason why millions now repeat the false narrative that we made the N-word ours is because of the illusionary truth effect. This is when a false narrative has been repetitively fed to a targeted population until they begin repeating it and insisting that it's true, although it is in fact not. Repetition makes lies appear more truthful. White propagandists repeatedly fed the false narrative into the African American community that we ridiculously made the N-word ours, and even more ridiculously, that using it now empowers us. Millions of African Americans then accepted these false narratives and started repeating them. From this point on, the herd mentality took over, resulting in millions of African Americans calling themselves by the N-word. The herd mentality is the tendency of people's behaviors or beliefs to conform to those of the groups to which they belong, regardless of how ridiculous those beliefs may be. And the most ridiculous belief and behavior that millions of our people have been made to do is to call themselves by the N-word. The narrative that we African Americans made the N-word ours and that using it now empowers us are both lies created by white propagandists and repetitively fed into our communities. The truth of the matter is that it was actually white oppressive forces that socialized us to call ourselves by the N-words through negative media social engineering. Most people naively believe that the media reflects our reality, but in truth, it is more often we that imitate what we see and learn from the media. A group's identity is shaped by how they see themselves repeatedly depicted within the media. People often become those media depictions of themselves that they've accepted as being their reality. It's a true science known as media social engineering. Whoever controls a people's media images controls their culture. People that have been stripped of their true identity and culture are more susceptible to the media social engineering. Because white oppressive forces controls the media images of African Americans, they covertly negatively steer our culture through negative media social engineering. They originally began the process through the black exploitation films made by white movie studios throughout the 1960s and mid-70s, and then continued it through the white-controlled hip-hop industry beginning during the late 1980s. The reason why they socially engineered millions of African Americans to call ourselves by the N-word is because to subjugate and control a targeted population, the first step is to neutralize their alpha males, aka those possessing warrior spirits. These are the males that are psychologically wired to protect their women and to protect their communities. White social scientists neutralize the black alpha males by socially engineering millions to self-identify ourselves by the N-word. When black people self-identify ourselves by the N-word, this actually negatively impacts our population at a psychological level, benefiting the system of white supremacy. Because words have power over the subconscious mind. We psychologically become the words that we repeatedly call ourselves. It's why men that call themselves thugs are more likely to engage in a fight than to avoid one. It's also why women that proclaim themselves as being bitches often become stubbornly unreasonable. We subconsciously become the words we repeatedly call ourselves. It's a psychological phenomenon that white oppressive forces have thoroughly researched. When we repeatedly call ourselves by the N-word, this conditions us to perceive ourselves through a false, inherent, subordinate identity that aids the white society in maintaining its social dominance over us. Have you ever noticed that those African Americans who refuses to call themselves by the N-word tend to carry themselves with a higher degree of self-respect, as well as commands more respect from others? Currently, many black men believe that they're making an impactful statement when they declare themselves as being real niggers. But those black men are totally ignorant of the fact that white social engineering scientists intentionally attach the term real niggers to hyper black masculinity in order to get black men to insist that they're real niggers. The truth is that calling ourselves by the N-word actually conditions us to perceive ourselves through a false, inherent, subordinate identity that aids the white society in maintaining its social dominance and control over us. When we call ourselves by the N-word, it also causes us to dehumanize each other. This makes it much more easier to mistreat each other or even kill each other. This is a fact proven by the military. During the Vietnam War, to ease the American soldiers' anxieties about killing and torturing the Vietnamese soldiers, they were taught to refer to them by terms such as chinks, gooks, or kongs. This dehumanized them within the minds of the soldiers, which made it easier to kill and torture them. When we assign negative words upon people and dehumanize them, it makes it easier to mistreat them. Case, point, and proof. Have you ever closely listened whenever a black person speaks of a previous fight against another black person? As he presents the detail of the fight, he will say that I hit that nigger, I kicked that nigger, I shot that nigger, etc., etc. The term that nigger is being actually used to dehumanize the victim, the other black man. If you ask the speaker to retell the details of the fight, but replacing the term that nigger with my brother, it then becomes a psychological struggle to do so. He may even become angry for being asked to retell the story without using the dehumanizing word of that nigger. Through negative media social engineering, white oppressive forces have placed an elaborate negative spell upon the subconscious minds of millions of African Americans with the N-word. The white prison industry is filled with black men that have been programmed to believe that they're real niggers. White social engineering scientists deliberately program millions of black men to do so to meet this agenda. When we call ourselves by the N-word, this also separates us from our unifying African heritage. Without having a base identity to connect to our vast cultural wealth, over time we become further fragmented and weaker as a people. We can then be made into anything that the white oppressors wants us to be made into. Every couple of decades, they present new reasons why we should call ourselves by the N-word. They give us niggers, N-E-G-U-S, niggers, N-I-G-G-A. However, the reality is that the N-word by any spelling still doesn't remove the psychological damage of the original N-word, because the subconscious mind doesn't see the different spelling. The N-word by any spelling is still a nigger because the subconscious mind doesn't see it. Black people, it's time to wake up to our reality. They're waging a COVID war against us. They're playing chess while we're playing checkers. It is time to wake up to our reality. One love and peace.